August 19, 2025, Eastern Pacific. A U.S. Coast Guard HC-130J Super Hercules scans the water and finds a dark contact racing north at 50 knots. No AIS, no lights. What should have been a routine patrol just turned into a more than $42 million chase. For years, Sinaloa and Jalisco New Generation cartels believed speed made them untouchable. But this day, the Coast Guard proves them wrong. Endurance, data fusion, precision fire, 4 shots. That's all it will take. At 10:14, the radar operator flags the unidentified contact. The target is not broadcasting an automatic identification system, or AIS beacon, a legal requirement for all commercial vessels. Its track shows constant minor course deviations, a classic indicator that the pilot is actively trying to avoid surveillance. The HC-130J is the Coast Guard's primary long-range eye in the sky. A 4-engine turboprop with about 34 tons of internal fuel and 12-plus hours endurance, allowing it to patrol a massive search radius from its base. The operator slews the aircraft's powerful AN/APY-11 multi-mode radar onto the contact. The radar return confirms a low-profile hull about 40 to 50 feet long. The operator then switches to the Westcam MX-20 electro-optical and infrared turret. 4 distinct thermal spikes at the stern, glowing at over 300 degrees Fahrenheit, consistent with high-horsepower outboard engines running at maximum output. This is not a fishing vessel. This is a cartel go-fast smuggling craft. On its deck, hidden under blue tarps, is a cargo of narcotics with an estimated U.S. street value of $42 million. That operation is about to be terminated. At 10:15, the HC-130J operator uplinks the data. The target's complete track, speed, and visual confirmation are transmitted via a secure Link 16 data feed. This data instantly populates the screens at Joint Interagency Task Force South in Key West, the nerve center for U.S. interdiction operations. At the same moment, the data arrives on the bridge of the USCGC Kimball, a 418-foot Legend-class national security cutter operating in the same sector. But this is where the tactical problem begins. The Kimball is a 4,500-ton command and control ship, packed with sophisticated sensors. But its maximum sustained speed is only 28 knots. The target is moving at 50 knots. A surface intercept isn't just difficult, it is mathematically impossible. This speed gap is the entire maritime doctrine of the Sinaloa and Jalisco New Generation cartels. Their smuggling craft are built for this single calculation. Their speed, often reaching up to 80 knots, makes them uncatchable by any conventional naval or Coast Guard patrol ship, which almost always max out around 30 knots. The cartel's plan is simple. They accept detection. They know that by the time a patrol cutter is vectored to their location, they will be hundreds of miles away, well on their way to the next logistical handoff point. The Kimball was 200 nautical miles, over 230 miles from the target's position. The smugglers were, by their math, perfectly safe. But the U.S. Coast Guard wasn't planning a surface chase. The Kimball wasn't the pursuit asset. It was the launch platform. At 11 a.m., Kimball's flight deck came alive. An MH-65E Dolphin helicopter lifted off, its twin engines screaming. This helicopter belongs to HITRON, the Helicopter Interdiction Tactical Squadron. Let me tell you, HITRON is not a transport unit. It's a specialized elite group trained for one of the most dangerous missions in law enforcement: airborne use of force and precision disabling fire against non-compliant maritime targets. The MH-65E Dolphin is an advanced interceptor with a top speed of 175 knots, or just over 200 miles per hour. It received the target's real-time coordinates directly from the overhead HC-130J via the data link. The helicopter didn't have to search. It flew a direct intercept course, closing the gap in a fraction of the time the cutter would have taken. For the smugglers, their entire calculation had just failed. Their first awareness of the new threat was the rotor wash of the MH-65E as it established a stable, rock-solid position 50 feet off their stern, perfectly matching their 50-knot speed. The smugglers immediately initiated their standard evasive maneuvers, banking the boat hard left and right in a high-speed zigzag pattern. This is a tactic that is highly effective at defeating a surface ship trying to come alongside. Against a helicopter, it was futile. The HITRON pilot simply adjusted collective and anti-torque, matching every single turn, while the crew chief in the cabin maintained a clear, steady line of sight on the boat's engines. The engagement now followed a strict legal and lethal ladder of escalation, and it was all being recorded. This isn't a high-speed chase from the movies. This is a cold, procedural, and documented takedown. The HITRON crew was now following the U.S. Coast Guard's strict Airborne Use of Force, or AUF, protocol. AUF Step 1. Warning and Hailing. The HITRON crew chief activated the helicopter's LRAD, or long-range acoustic device. First, a high-frequency, disorienting warning tone cut through the roar of the engines and the wind. This was followed by clear verbal commands broadcast in both English and Spanish. Stop your vessel immediately. You are in violation of maritime law. The go-fast boat ignored the warning, maintaining its 50-knot dash. The pilot's radio call to the Kimball was simple. Target is non-compliant. AUF Step 2. Warning shots. Command granted authorization for the next step. The helicopter's crew chief, secured by a safety harness in the open cabin door, manned an M240 machine gun. This is not disabling fire. This is the final unambiguous warning. The gunner fired a controlled burst of 7.62 mm tracers, ripping into the water 50 yards ahead of the go-fast boat's bow. The bright green and red tracers were clearly visible, impacting the water, a universal signal to stop. The smugglers' response was to push their throttles even harder, holding their course. The warnings were over. The pilot radioed again. Target remains non-compliant. Request authorization for AUF. The command came back from the Kimball, logged and recorded. AUF is authorized. Disable engines. A new weapon was about to enter the fight. The crew chief stowed the M240 machine gun. He moved to a specialized mount and readied a Barrett M107A1 50 caliber rifle. This is the designated tool for the mission. It is a semi-automatic recoil-operated rifle, chosen specifically for its ability to deliver precise, devastating fire from an unstable, vibrating aerial platform. And the ammunition is just as specialized. The gunner chambered Raufoss Mk211 multi-purpose rounds. This is not a simple slug. It is a complex 50 caliber projectile containing an armor-piercing tungsten penetrator, an explosive charge, and incendiary material. It is designed for one purpose: to inflict maximum damage on hard targets like engine blocks. The HITRON mission is explicit. Stop the vessel, not the crew. All fire is directed at the engines. The helicopter pilot adjusted, climbing slightly and banking to give the gunner a clear, stable line of sight. This is the ultimate test of skill. The go-fast boat was operating in Sea State 4 with waves up to 8 feet, causing it to pitch and yaw violently. The helicopter itself was in constant motion. This is the shot the HITRON gunner is certified for. The gunner acquired the starboardmost engine. He tracked its vertical motion, timed the apex of the swell, accounted for the relative motion of both his aircraft and the target, and fired. Shot 1. The 50 caliber round impacted the engine cowling. A thermal spike registered on the HC-130J's infrared camera as the Mk211 round's incendiary charge ignited, followed by a spray of components and smoke. The first engine was destroyed. The boat yawed heavily to starboard as its thrust became asymmetrical. It was still moving at over 40 knots. Shot 2. The gunner transitioned to the next engine in line. The shot was clean. A second impact, a second engine failure. The boat's speed dropped significantly. Shot 3. The third engine was hit. The boat was now off-plane, wallowing in the water, its bow pointing high, struggling to maintain any headway. Shot 4. The final shot struck the last engine. In less than 120 seconds, 4 precision shots resulted in 4 catastrophic engine failures. The thermal signature from the stern, once 4 distinct 300-degree spikes, was now a chaotic bloom of heat from destroyed metal. The 1,200 horsepower from the mercury outboards was gone. The vessel, built for 50 knots, was dead in the water. The $42 million operation was terminated. This was not a random outcome. It was the endpoint of a specific, repeatable doctrine. This single interdiction falls under Operation Caribbean Shield, a multi-agency campaign that has seized more than $6.7 billion in narcotics since its inception. As of mid-2025, HITRON units have logged over 1,000 successful airborne engine-disabling events. With the target neutralized, the USCGC Kimball arrived on station. It launched its over-the-horizon inflatable boats with a tactical law enforcement team, or LEADET. The team boarded the vessel, secured the 4 smugglers, and confirmed the massive cargo. But the operation's success was guaranteed long before the first shot was fired, thanks to a critical intelligence failure on the part of the cartel. The fatal flaw was in the boat's design. OSINT analysis confirmed it. The boat ran on 4 Mercury 300 horsepower outboards that, at a full throttle 50-knot sprint, consumed an incredible 100 gallons of fuel per hour. Analysts confirmed its maximum fuel load, including auxiliary bladders, gave it a total runtime of only 4 hours at full speed. The cartel's calculation was a 4-hour race against a 28-knot surface ship. They thought they could win. But the U.S. Coast Guard's assets operated on a different timeline. The HC-130J provided 12 hours of continuous surveillance overwatch. The MH-65E helicopter was a renewable asset. While it had a flight time of about 2.5 hours, it could return to the Kimball, refuel, and be back on station in under 30 minutes over and over again. The smugglers were in a 4-hour race against a 12-hour surveillance platform and a renewable pursuit helicopter. The outcome was a statistical certainty. After the crew and cargo were removed, the final protocol was enacted. The go-fast boat was a stateless vessel, flying no flag and having no registration. It was scuttled at sea. U.S. procedure is to leave only coordinates on a chart, denying the cartel any recovery of their multi-million-dollar asset. The strategic impact was logged. By September 2025, Coast Guard sources reported a 17% decline in cartel maritime transits along that specific Pacific corridor. The risk-reward calculation has been demonstrably altered. This interdiction demonstrates a key doctrinal shift in maritime enforcement: asymmetric asset matching. The cartel's entire strategy was based on one metric: speed. The U.S. Coast Guard strategy was based on 3: endurance, data fusion, and precision fire. The core of this capability is the HITRON gunner. The qualification for this role is quantitative and non-negotiable. A gunner must train with 5,000 live rounds. They must achieve and maintain a 90% hit accuracy on a small moving target from a moving helicopter in 8-foot waves. The event on August 19th was not a fight. It was the result of a numbers-driven procedural application of force. The HC-130J provided the data, the Kimball provided the forward operating base, the MH-65E provided the intercept, and the HITRON gunner provided the final precision solution. This is the tactical model that proves a fused network of systems, combined with a small team of elite specialized operators, can defeat a multi-million-dollar criminal enterprise every single time.